the conversation goes. Yes, you're perfect now.
Is that good?
Yeah.
All right.
So hi everyone, my name is Mandi Palmer. I'm a food and lifestyle success coach, and I've been healing with medical medium information now for 3.5 years-ish. And I've done the 369 6 times now. The advance was my 6th round, and I've seen amazing healing results in my entire 3.5-year journey, which is why I continue, and which is why I use it as the foundation in my coaching practice. So yeah, that's me. Go ahead, Michelle.
Hey, Mandi. I can barely hear you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think there was an issue with that last time where you said that, but my sound ended up being fine.
Yeah. Hopefully everyone else can hear okay.
Yeah, if you guys can't hear me, let me know.
Give us a thumbs up if you can hear us both okay. And in the meantime, hi everyone. My name is Michelle, and I have been following Medical Medium for 3 years now, and I've been able to transform my health in numerous ways, and we got a thumbs up, so they can hear okay. Can you hear me okay, Mandi?
I can.
Okay. Yeah, I've read all of the books except for Cleanse to Heal. I've not had a chance to get into it, but I have studied all the cleanses in the book because I'm ready to do my first cleanse out of that book. Medical Medium, if you're not familiar, is Anthony William and Spirit of Compassion combined. And Anthony William is a New York Times bestselling author of 6 books, and this is his latest, Cleanse to Heal. He is also the originator of the global celery juice movement, where over 300 million people are drinking celery juice and healing every health issue you can imagine. So that's very exciting. And Mandi and I both absolutely live our days in gratitude for Anthony William and Spirit of Compassion and the books, because they've helped us heal so many issues and helped our loved ones as well. So
Yeah.
Did you already talk about the subject for today?
Yeah, when you were fiddling.
Okay.
Yeah, so the subject today, guys, is I'm gonna share about my advanced liver rescue 369 cleanse that I just finished up, and then I figure we will get into talking about the 369s and cleansing in general, wherever the conversation takes us. So yeah, so I did the advanced 369 recently.
Good.
Day 9.
I can't wait to hear about your experience.
Yeah, I posted a lot about it. I posted every day, which is huge for me. I never post that much, but I got into a nightly routine of posting my experience, and I knew that I wanted to do it because, one, I'm still trying to heal my chemical sensitivities, which have improved so much, but it's still there. I still, don't want to be around things because I know in some way I'll react. And the chronic bloating, it went away for about the first year that I was doing this, and then it has like creeped up and come back, and it's almost a daily occurrence now. And I have a little bit of weight gain that has happened with my cleansing. I lost weight initially the first year, and then just like the bloating, the little bit of weight gain, and it's not significant. It's really not a lot. I know that it's nothing to really complain about. But, I know that for me, my body's just going through this cleansing process, and our weight is naturally going to fluctuate up and down. We release toxins from the liver. If all of it can't be flushed out, then it has to go somewhere. It goes into the lymphatic system, or it goes into our fat cells, and that saves us. That keeps our blood from being super toxic. So that was why I really wanted to do it. And I had done 5 369s. And my main concern for me was I have a hard time doing all raw. Anytime I've done the 28-day cleanse, it would like I wasn't able to really continue it. I never did a full 28 days. I always did what I did with cooked food. And in the beginning, when I did it with avocado. So I never really did it 100% because every time I'd go fully raw, I could only go about 2 days without getting a headache.
Oh, wow.
And so what happened on my advanced 369 was day 3, towards the evening, I started getting a headache, and then overnight it was awful. I was in so much pain, I was nauseous. The whole next day I was in pain and nauseous and very fatigued. And then the evening on day 4, it went away. It just went away. And it was almost like once I got over that hump of whatever it was, it's like I had this initial detox that had to happen, and I've always avoided it, and that's why I've only ever been able to go 2 or 3 days without having any cooked food. So, and let me tell you this though, the headache that I had was extremely familiar. It wasn't the migraine that I get that I was always getting when I was getting migraines, or every once in a while when I get one now. It was very specific. The pain was specific. The way that I felt was specific to this one time I had gotten my hair colored. This was the last time I colored my hair years ago, a couple years before medical medium, before I even found him. And they messed up when they were doing my hair, and they had to put the color on again or something else. So I had 2 hits of all that crap all over my scalp. And then right after that appointment, my husband and I were in the process of renovating the gym that we owned. And I remember going in there right after the appointment, and I had a painter's mask on. But even through a painter's mask, you're still absorbing things through your skin and the air. You know, if there's drywall dust floating around. And so, I don't remember when, I think it was like the next day or a couple of days later, I got sick. I remember waking up with this insane, intense migraine in the back of my head. And I threw up not too long after that, and then I just slept for half the day.
Wow.
And I'll never forget how much pain I was in the morning and the intense nausea that I was experiencing. So it was exactly like that. So it makes me wonder if I was finally detoxing those chemicals that I had absorbed in that experience. So that was the only thing that sucked. I was the only time I didn't feel great. I think maybe the first or second day I was a little tired, but then after day 4 on, I felt fantastic. And it wasn't like, because you know how in the book he talks about, well, maybe you haven't read this part yet, but you've heard him talk about this. When you're detoxing the adrenaline. You're detoxing the adrenaline from an emotional experience, and that adrenaline has those emotions with it. And so we can have fear, anger, grief. We can have those that we associate as negative, and then we can have those emotions that we would say are more positive, that created some adrenaline from an exciting experience. And so I didn't feel either of those. I felt both of those on my 369s before. I remember just feeling really elated, super happy, just feeling really, really good in one of them. I think it was number 5. And
It's out of nowhere, right?
What's that?
Those emotions, they just come out of nowhere.
They do.
Right? They're
They
not
do.
circumstantial. They're just you just have this feeling come over you. You know, whether it's positive or negative, it's old, buried emotions that have attached themselves to the adrenaline that happened at the time.
Yeah, and then once they flush out, it's done. And like you said, there's no thoughts. It's not like, oh, I feel this way about something. It's just, thank goodness too, because we don't, as we're detoxing that adrenaline, we don't need to relive those experiences as it's detoxing, because we're not, there are things that we do need to heal emotionally and mentally sometimes. And it's good for that stuff to come up into our conscious mind so that it can be released. But in this case, with adrenaline, you just want to get it out.
Yeah.
But the rest of the cleanse, I didn't really feel either of those. It wasn't like I felt super positive. I just felt good. I was feeling good from the raw living foods. And, let's not forget too that the 369 cleanse is so supportive to the body. Yes, this was all raw. It's more intense than the 369. But, the 369, just the way that it's designed just really supports the body. So, I remember that when I'm doing the cleanse, I know that it's a spiritual cleanse at the same time, and it's just supportive to the body. So, it was a good experience, and I'm going to do it again. I thought about continuing it after, just going on starting with the 6 or the 9 again. Wasn't sure, but I was just ready for some cooked food.
Yeah.
So
Have you had your potatoes yet?
I did.
Yeah.
I didn't go overboard on day 10, but I had a nice big bowl of just steamed potatoes and garlic and rosemary on day 11.
Nice. Yeah, fortunately, when we detox old adrenaline, that basically our liver kind of hides away from the rest of our body, because adrenaline is so toxic. When that detoxing happens, fortunately, it's a detox symptom because it's so short-lived. It's a real quick experience. It lasts a day or two and it's gone. So that has been like some of the strangest experiences that I've had with detoxing is, detoxing childhood traumas. And, I don't want to interrupt your experience from the 369, but I just wanted to say that I did the 28-day cleanse from his first book.
Did you do it all raw with no fat or any cooked foods? You did?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I ended up turning that into 60 days.
Wow.
I did the 28-day cleanse. It wasn't until a year after I had started on medical medium protocols, and it was intentional because I knew after reading that we can detox some old emotions and old traumas, and I've had a few. So I was a little trepidatious about that, and so I gave myself a year just eating mostly raw, 100% plant-based, no foods, and kind of built my way up to that point. And I definitely experienced some of that old adrenaline. But fortunately, it was short-lived, and I, for me, I would just start crying out of the blue. I've always been very empathic, but I kind of for no reason. I didn't have to witness compassion. I didn't have to see a Hallmark commercial or anything circumstantial to make me feel that well up of emotion, It would just come out of nowhere, and I would just feel it very deeply, and I would let myself cry. Shannon, my husband, just kind of got used to it, but it was all very short-lived, and it would go away, fortunately, very quickly. But that definitely happened with the 28-day cleanse for me.
Yeah, that's not surprising. I mean, I like the 28-day cleanse to me is probably the hardest cleanse if you do it like you did, with no avocado, no cooked foods, 100% just raw fruits and vegetables for 28 days. That is the most intense cleanse he offers, I think. The 369 is only 9. It's technically it's 9 days, but you got to count day 10 a little bit because there's no fat that day, and you want to transition really easily. And no, you bring up a good point about how long detox symptoms last. Like that lasted for me 24 hours and that was it. A detox symptom is not going to last more than 2 or 3 days. If it starts lasting like 3, 4, 5 days, then it's a viral flare and you have to approach it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
You can just wait it out, but usually it's going to be something pretty miserable. Like one of my posts, I was talking about, if it had persisted, then I would have went into my antivirals and, done that part, but I didn't need to.
So I have a
So,
question for you. Since you've been able to read a lot of Cleanse to Heal and do the advanced 369 you just finished, did you continue to use your supplements and your tinctures, your herbal tinctures and that sort of thing while you were on the cleanse, or did you just quit them all?
I quit them all. I didn't even think about it. And you know what's funny is I slept absolutely amazing every single night, except the night I was in pain. I slept amazing every single night. And right after the cleanse ended, the night of day 10, I didn't sleep very good. And then not last night, but the night before, I was awake thinking about stuff. I was awake from, I usually sleep between 10 and 6, 10 to 7. I was awake from 1:30 to when the sun came up. And then
Wow.
I finally fell back to sleep for a few hours and got out of bed around 9 o'clock. Um, just because, like, like if something bothers me and I'm thinking about it, even like it's nothing big. It's stuff about the house we're building. And I was just going through stuff in my mind and worrying about stuff. And it's been a hard cycle for me to break right now. So I was amazed that I slept as good as I did without all of my supplements because I take melatonin every night, um, and I take Pharmagaba and Neuromag every night to help me sleep, and the lemon balm tincture, and I was surprisingly able to just let it go because those are the ones I'm attached to. My insomnia got so much better with medical medium, but whenever there's something going on in my life that I stress out about a little bit, then the insomnia comes back a little bit. And it's always like, my insomnia has always been around the time of the liver. 1:30 is really early for me to be waking up. That's how I knew it was my mind at the same time. It wasn't like if it's 3 o'clock, 3 to 5, like that's my liver. And I was getting a lot of that before I did the 369. That's why another reason I really knew that I needed to do it. Um, so yeah, no, I didn't even take zinc, B12, SRC. I didn't take any of them. I started taking them in the past few days. Um, Varia Trunov says how the advanced 369 is different from the original. The original cleanse has some cooked food. It's going to have some steamed asparagus, steamed Brussels sprouts, and on day 7 you're allowed to slow detox with some steamed squash or steamed potatoes. And the advanced 369 is 100% raw. But what I really liked about the advanced 369 versus the original 369 was that you had some meal choices. With the original 369, you have to follow that plan exactly. You have to have the liver rescue salad with steamed asparagus for one meal and then so and it's very specific, but in the advanced you had a choice. I mean, I guess in the original 369 you have the choice between which liver rescue smoothie you make and which liver rescue salad you make, but those are the only choices that you have, and on day 9, whichever, you feel like blending up and drinking.
In the
But
original, the first 3 days, you can pretty much have whatever you want as long as you avoid, right? The no
well,
foods and no
almost,
fat.
but he's changed it in Cleanse to Heal.
Right.
The
Yes, he did.
updated, the updated, he took out fat and he said no beans the first 3 days.
Yeah.
So the first 3 days is definitely the easiest part of it. But what I really loved about the advanced 369 is that you had options. For lunch, you could either have the liver rescue smoothie or spinach soup. And then for dinner, you could either have spinach soup or 4 of the other recipes, which were the nori rolls, the cucumber, tomato, and herb salad, the kale salad, and the cauliflower and greens bowl. Um, so, I really liked having the options, even though I never even made the kale salad, and I only made the cauliflower and greens bowl once. I focused on what I did was I alternated between the liver rescue smoothie and spinach soup for lunch. And then for dinner, I either had the nori rolls or the cucumber, tomato, and herb salad because those were the two that I liked the best. So they are quite different. If you know that you can handle like a few days of raw, and you've done a day or two or so of being fat free, then it's definitely a good time to do a liver rescue 369. And if you think you can handle more raw, by all means try the advanced liver rescue 369. It's just a little harder when it's all raw.
Right, it
But
is.
if you think that you can handle it, then your body will be fine. And it's only 9 days. It's not even as long as the 28-day cleanse.
Yeah.
But on the 369, you can't have any fat at all. No matter which 369 you're on, you stop the cleanse immediately when you have fat. So it can be a little bit more of a commitment, because you know that if you're doing a 28-day cleanse, that if you need to, you can have a little bit of avocado or a little bit of steamed vegetables.
So, Mandy, I want to mention that you've been fat free for over a year, right? How long have you been fat free
It's
completely?
now been 18 months.
Wow. Wow. So, both you and Muniza inspired me to go fat free also, and it's been over 5 months now for me. So, and you know what keeps me from not wanting to eat fat? One, I don't crave it. I don't crave it
Yeah,
anymore, and I
I
know
know.
you don't either. It's
hmm
like when you're eating fat, you crave it. You crave
Yeah.
more of it, but when you're not eating fat, you don't crave it. And so, honestly, for me, I did the original 369 from uh, Liver Rescue, and I had a really wonderful experience with that. And uh, hey, Jules, I'm so glad to see you here. Boundless Radiant Health. Um, and I would say, I did the original 369 where you could have potatoes or cooked winter squash on the seventh evening. And, whew, I was ready to have those
I
potatoes.
know. I'm always ready for those when I do it. I know.
Yeah, because when you're fat free, you kind of lean a little bit on those potatoes and winter squashes and sweet potatoes because they're satiating and they're grounding, and
Mm-hmm.
um, they kind of make up for no fat
They
in
do.
a way. So when I read about the advanced 369, because I was gung ho, I was ready to do it,
I know.
and I read, no potatoes or winter squash, no cooked food throughout the entire 9 days. I just, honestly, the only reason I've not started the advanced 369 yet is because my life is so incredibly physical right now.
Mm-hmm.
And between working in the garden, pulling weeds, and harvesting food, and working on the house, we are full speed ahead on building our home. Um, I just, I think it would be too difficult for me, one, to plan so specifically every single day, all of the meals, take the time to create them, because juicing and smoothieing and, making sure I get certain things in every day is challenging enough, and then creating dinner from scratch. So, um, so I'll get there. I'm not sure
Yeah.
where that breaking point's going to be where life is not so physical anymore,
Mm-hmm.
because you really have to pamper yourself a little bit and allow yourself the rest and the recuperation, and allow for that detoxing to happen where you're not having to run off and go do something, every single day. So I do look forward to that. But when I did the original 369 from Liver Rescue, I'm 51 years old, and I did that cleanse back in February, right before I turned 51. And I was honestly having hot flashes. I was having hot flashes on and off this entire time. I would go long periods of time without, but then they would just show up out of nowhere. And, honestly, after I did the 28-day cleanse that turned into the 60-day cleanse, I allowed myself one avocado per month. Isn't that weird? But that's what I wanted. Like, I wanted to have a quarter of an avocado, once a week. And then over time, I started eating 2 tablespoons of tahini in my salad dressing.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't start eating more and more and more fat by any means, but that became my routine.
Mm-hmm.
I needed that salad dressing with the tahini. And that new routine inflamed me. It caused me to put weight on. I felt sluggish. And that went on for many months because you just get into your routine and you try to, find some normalcy. So that's honestly why I decided to quit fat.
Mm-hmm. I do feel like that if I started eating it, that I would probably be putting more weight on for sure.
Yeah. It clogs your system. I mean, it clogs your bloodstream. That's what causes diabetes. It allows your liver to just not function as it should and pump out, too much bile to break that stuff down so your body can get it out of the system. So,
It stops cleansing, and it's dehydrating.
mm-hmm.
It's not for everyone. And Michelle and I are saying that this is something that people need to be doing right away. Like my body asked for it after I did my first 369 cleanse. And then it just continued. And even this year in January, remember January, I was like, I'm going to have an avocado. I'm going to do it. And I put it in my hand and it was just like, my body just said, no, I didn't want it.
Yeah.
Hi, ladies. You have been on celery juice. Oh, where'd it go? You have been on celery juice for a long time. Did you start liking the taste? It keeps disappearing every time I click it. Did you
Persistent, but I
start
hate the
liking the
taste.
taste after some time or not? I'm 7 weeks in. I'm persistent, but I hate the taste. I didn't hate it at first, but I have heard that every once in a while people will go through a time period when it tastes really bad to them, especially even if the celery isn't particularly like really green. I do notice that the lighter, fatter celery stalks they make much sweeter, milder juice, but if they're really small and really dark, then they can make, they don't always, but they can make a more stronger, astringent, bitter juice. And if you don't like the taste, you're not juicing the leaves, are you? Because the leaves are really, really bitter. I tear off all the leaves unless I decide like I want some additional medicinal qualities, and then I'll put the leaves in there if I'm feeling really,
I
really
have
great.
I have found that over the past 3 years, a couple different things. And Anthony, I believe, says that the bitterness of celery, if it tastes bitter to you, that it can actually sweeten as your liver heals.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But also, I have found that the thin green stalks that you would think would be bitter are actually sweet.
Some of them can be sweet, yeah.
But I don't know if it's the celery or if it's my liver,
Mm.
right? So,
I remember I got some from Trader Joe's once, and they looked like that, but it was so sweet.
yes.
But the whenever they are whenever they're like really big and light in color and juicy, obviously those aren't as medicinal. And they'll always, I've never had any of those that taste bad.
So with that said, thinking they may not be as medicinal, Anthony says, he writes that it's a really good idea to get a variety of celery,
Mm-hmm.
which you can get at the same
Mm-hmm.
grocery store and get a variety of celery that's organic from one week to the next, because
Mm-hmm.
it just depends
It'll come from
on.
different farms.
Hi, Angels 444 blessed. It just
Bye.
depends on what brand they have at the time, you know. So you can
Yeah.
get a variety. But he said it's a good idea to get that variety and not eat the same celery from the same farmer every week.
Yeah.
Um,
And it may, like you said, it may depend on what you're detoxing. So if you're only doing it, if you've only been doing it for 7 weeks, you're still in some initial detox phase. There's a lot of lymphatic cleansing that will happen, and gut cleansing when you first start doing celery juice. A lot of times people have gut stuff, and it makes them, have urgency when they go to the bathroom in the morning. So, it's possible that, over time that it will taste better to you.
yeah, and I also want to add that after I did, well, let me get back to the 369, the original 369 that I did. On the very first, so I was having hot flashes over the past few years, um, on and off. And when I started the 369, the original, I was having um, I was having hot flashes. And after the very first day on that 369, the hot flashes stopped. They just stopped completely. And that was in February. I quit fat in January, and I've not had one hot flash since.
Yeah.
So the other thing that happened for me on the original 369 cleanse was uh, for whatever reason, I just had no libido. I could do with or without. And I noticed on day 9 of the 369 cleanse, my libido came back full force. and that was like shocking, because you almost forget what that feels like, you
Yeah.
know. But that
Mm-hmm.
is a beautiful sign of healing, a
Oh,
beautiful sign
yeah.
of healing. So after that cleanse, I want my libido too. Yeah, it'll come back.
Oh, I don't see that
Um,
coming yet.
so I've continued fat free since that cleanse, but you can go back to our last live and hear our stories about our personal flares we've had recently. And I had a shingles flare that that really knocked me down, but only for 2 weeks, when in the past it would be for like a full month. And I was just thinking, what else can I do to better my health experience? And so I decided to quit salt. Um, I think it was on May, sometime in May. I looked at my journal, which, keep a journal, guys, because it's hard to remember everything. But I had to refer to my journal this morning, and so I've been salt free for 41 days. When I quit salt that first week, I saw the inflammation really come down in my body all over. And I've never quit salt. Like, I've been eating salt my whole life, quality sea salt my adult life, or Himalayan rock salt, pink salt. But that was a time that I noticed for the first time, I think it was about after 2 weeks of going salt free, that my celery juice literally tasted like candy. Like
Mm-hmm.
it was crazy. It's never tasted that sweet before. I thought it was from quitting salt. I don't really know why, because I've
Well,
had some bitter celery since. So it's not stayed sweet.
hmm
Sometimes it's sweet, sometimes it's bitter, you know.
I know that celery juice helps us detox out those. You didn't hear that, did you?
I didn't know. I can barely hear
My
you.
dog just sat right in front of the door, and we have wood floor and wood door, and it was just loud.
Oh,
Um, the mineral salt and the cluster salt in celery juice will detox out salt from our liver. So without eating salt, I wonder if you were just able to detox out some of that older salt, that more toxic salt that you ate in the past.
yeah.
Mhm. Awesome.
I don't know. But I like the way I feel. I really like the way I
Yeah.
feel. I've been able to start running again. Well, about 2 weeks now, I've been running up and down a mountain every morning. And, I mean, in the heat, 80 degrees, I don't
hmm
overdo it in the heat anymore. I had to learn the hard way with that. And
Yeah,
Anthony says, do
you
not
did that right
exercise
before
in
your
the
angle
heat.
square.
Um, so, yeah, I'm feeling really good. So I'm probably going to stay fat free and salt free for a while.
Colleen Lucci
Right, I
says
love to
it's
juice just
great
like
that you
Candy
found each
too.
other. Yes, Michelle and I, we met through a local meetup here. She's in Bryson City. I'm in Asheville, and so yeah, we are very glad that we found each other.
I didn't hear what you
And
said.
what her comment says, she's like, "You're lucky you found each other."
Oh,
So I
that's
assume
sweet.
she was talking about us and not just us finding Anthony William, but either way,
Yeah.
we're all grateful.
I can't read. It's compassion.
Says at Smoky Mountain Paradise, thank you for this advice. I want my juice to taste like candy too. How do you know, how do you now flavor your food though? Quitting salt is so tough.
Oh, well, I would say it took about 2 weeks before I noticed how much better my food tasted, like without the salt. Like Mandy, you said one time you stopped putting salt on your potatoes, and I was like, oh my gosh, potatoes are gonna be hard to eat without salt, but they are not. They are
Mhm.
so sweet and they taste naturally so good
They do.
that one of my favorite things to do, because at first when I quit salt, I would just like load on the garlic powder and the onion powder and fresh herbs or dried herbs, basil, oregano, dill, rosemary, thyme,
Curry's really good without salt. I did that last night.
curry.
I did a pea dip with a bunch of curry, and then I did the potatoes with a bunch of curry on it, and
Yeah.
I had dulse in there, so that really helped.
And I love curry, but it's such a distinct flavor that it's not something you can really do on a regular basis.
Yeah, you
You
can't do it
know,
every night.
so I'll tell you what I do. Like, so for I never put salt in my salad before
Mhm.
anyway, but my favorite dressing is lemon juice and maple syrup, equal parts. And sometimes I'll put minced garlic or minced ginger in there. And sometimes I'll throw in all the fresh herbs just to change up the flavor. But generally, I love just lemon and maple by itself with a lot of greens and some fresh big chunks of heirloom tomatoes. That's one of my favorite salads.
Mhm.
There are salt-free organic um, seasonings, seasoning combos that you can buy out there. I've honestly started making my own. Um, my husband and I go and dig wild ramps in the early spring, and so I had a gallon bag of ramps, which are a combination of like onion garlic in the wild. Um, and so I just dehydrated 10 trays of ramps, and I made my own ramp powder. And when
Awesome.
you dehydrate onions of any kind, it almost caramelizes and brings out the sugar, and it is so good.
Mm.
Another thing that
So
I've
that would be
discovered,
better than just buying onion powder, right? Is dehydrating it
yes,
yourself, you think?
yeah, any kind of seasoning that you buy over the counter, you don't really know. Like, people are not really forthright necessarily with the true ingredients, if there's fillers and that sort of thing. So the garlic that I'm growing, I used all of the garlic scapes, which are the stems that come up on the hardneck garlic. They come up and they curl and they have a little seed pod at the end. I dehydrated all of those, and they're just so good. And just I put them in a coffee grinder, and made my own garlic scape powder. But just to kind of liven up, like to replace that salt, I like to use lime juice. I like to use like lime juice and cilantro a lot. And I love the dulse. I love the dulse. At first I thought, I wonder if I will ever be able to use dulse in place of salt. And honestly, the dulse flakes that I buy for the heavy metal detox smoothie they taste too fishy still to me. They taste like fish. I don't mind that mild ocean flavor, but they are just too fishy. It's the big chunks of dulse that I have just recently discovered, and it is my new best friend.
Yeah, they do not taste fishy. For some reason, the flakes taste fishy.
Yeah.
They taste different. I don't know why, but they taste totally different.
Yeah. And so maybe it's more concentrated because they're ground down finer. But one thing I was really missing was just like a fresh cucumber or a fresh slice of tomato with a little salt. And so I found that I can take the dulse chunks and just tear them apart. Shannon is, hey Skip Lineberg. Shannon is grossed out by that because he says the texture is like tobacco. But I love this. I'll tear off little shreds and I'll put it on my cucumber or put it on a tomato or put it on raw red cabbage. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's yummy.
Yeah. And I think with like, honestly, because I started trying to do some salt-free as well after Anthony Williams did that live, and you said that you were doing it and how great you were feeling, so I wanted to try it too. And I was able to do some days, like we were talking about how I can do salt-free potatoes because I think that you want to find meals that you can do without salt. There are certain flavors that you can handle without that salt. Like I posted a recipe recently with steamed sweet potatoes and nori rolls. Like I didn't use salt for that. When you have that seaweed, it really you really don't need the salt. Yeah. So start there, and then after this 369, because there's no salt on it, I haven't had salt now for almost 2 weeks, which before I was only doing like a couple of days at a time. So the past 3 days, I haven't done any salt, even when I've had some cooked dinners. So I think that, doing that cleanse really helped. I'll probably still have some, today, I'll try not to have it today because every time I make the meal, it's like and I'm only talking about cooked food because I find with raw food that doesn't need salt at all. Like Michelle, you were saying with your raw salads, that's not something that you were doing salt with. Yeah. So, just find those meals that you can do without salt and just to build upon there. And if you have to have a meal like, I remember making, like when I was trying to go salt-free, I just want nachos. So I made the fat-free nacho cheese with potatoes, cauliflower, carrots, and roasted potatoes. I'm like, I can't do this without salt. So like that meal I had salt with, But then last night when I made the pea dip with roasted potatoes and curry, that flavor was strong enough. I do lots of onion and garlic on everything. That was strong enough where I feel like I really wasn't missing the salt. Yeah. So, create those meals that you feel like you can do without salt and just, be compassionate with yourself about, when you feel like you need it again. Like even when I was getting off fat, like that took me for a long time. Before I went fat-free, I lowered my fat really slowly over time. I would, it went down to once a day, then it went down to just avocado, and then it went down to just a few times per week, and then liver rescue came out, and it was a really slow process. I wanted to read one of the comments.
I know I saw a
Colleen
question come up
Lucci,
earlier.
yeah, it just disappears. 2 years on celery juice and no salt on potatoes. I'd done the HMDS, no eggs. My weight has climbed to its heaviest. It's time to remove the fat. Yeah, that can definitely be the change that can help move you forward. Um,
Also
I like my,
realize that while you're cleansing, um, even if you're doing everything right, and even if you remove the fat, your liver will start to let go of toxins. And those toxins go into your bloodstream. They go into your lymphatic system. And, sometimes that causes inflammation. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. Manisa says that her weight has fluctuated from a size 6 to a size 12. And, she's been doing medical medium for, I think, 5 years now.
yeah,
So, just this is the time where you're even more patient and gentle with yourself. You drink more fluids.
yeah.
You do a little bouncing, you do a little rebounding, go for a walk, light exercise to help flush those toxins out. I mean, just Mandy, when I first met you, I think my right ankle had terrible edema,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah, I
um,
remember.
it was it was a little nerve wracking because I had never experienced that before, and it was just my right ankle. And I would say it lasted for about a month. And then it
Mm-hmm.
finally just kind of broke loose and flushed itself out. But that is your liver doing its job of feeling like it has a break now. It has an opportunity to let go of those toxins. And, those toxins go into your bloodstream and your lymph system. So that
And
looks
it's
like
And
you've
it's
gained
support,
weight.
you have to support the lymphatic system at the
Yes.
same time, like you said, rebounding, dry skin brushing, dry far infrared sauna, teas such as cleavers, which is really strong, and red clover, you really got to, and cucumber juice. You really need to be, if when you're detoxing, you get to a point where you're gaining and you feel like you're not getting everything out, that's when the weight gain happens, then you really need to support that lymphatic system like with the things that you were talking about as well. So
Yeah. Oh, angels, 444 blessed. Yeah, I was there. Avocado and potatoes. Try plain steamed potatoes. I would recommend either new potatoes or Yukon Gold potatoes or the red potatoes, whatever your favorite potato is. Um, Bite size, steam them up, and just add big chunks of whatever your favorite tomato is. Just potatoes and tomato in a bowl is like the most satisfying meal to me. I tried adding the lemon maple dressing to it just to kind of zing it up, It doesn't even need it. That
hmm
combination, I just wolf it down. It's so good. So good.
yeah, adding honey to lemon water does make it easier to drink. Yeah, I did a post on that. I think that's what she's talking about. That's how I got through drinking 32 ounces. And you know what? After the cleanse, I've continued doing over 24 ounces of lemon water every morning now.
Yeah.
There's something that I want to bring up before we run out of time. It's 12:50. We've talked about weight gain on this process a lot. I talked about it. We had a comment about it, and I really have noticed in the medical medium community, because medical medium has talked about how the 369 is especially great for losing weight. You know, it's almost like people have been disappointed when they haven't lost any weight, or they're really disappointed when they start gaining weight, and that can be really toxic to us, those thoughts. Yes, I've gained a little bit and I really want to lose it, but at the same time I know that this medical medium information, the cleanses, all the supplements, everything, they are They are tools to help our body heal, to help our body rebalance itself, repair itself. And I think it's, for me, I've had to shift my mind into thinking that it's, to not expect anything from this process, because once we expect things, we can tend to be disappointed from not getting what we want. And, I've shifted my thinking into feeling that, the medical medium cleanses and all this information, it's really a gift to our bodies. Every single time we put healing fruit and healing vegetables into our mouth, celery juice, the extra lemon water, everything that we're giving our body, we're giving it as a gift to our body. It's an offering. And when you give, true giving doesn't expect anything in return. Our bodies have been through so much, and with such a toxic world, the more that we can do for our bodies and just give our bodies without expecting anything in return, just it's a really spiritual process. I have found this is something that I've shifted into recently. This 369 really helped me realize that. I was just typing out a post, and this came out, and I see the 369 as a gift to my body. And then I started seeing the whole medical medium information as that way, as a gift. And so, I just think it's a good idea to not be attached to a certain outcome, because oftentimes we want to heal certain things. We want to heal, like, I really want to heal my bloating and my chemical sensitivities. That's what I'm working on now. And before, when I started, I had a lot of other things to heal that I really wanted to get rid of. But not having not being attached to the outcome of the results that we're getting, I think is really important. Just give the body what it needs, give it these gifts, and then the gifts that you'll get in return will be relief from some of those symptoms, but you don't necessarily need to try and make something happen so much. Trust that your body is so intelligent that it will give you the gift of relief when it's ready. So,
if
yeah.
I could add to that, that is beautiful, and it is so important, because when we don't see results physically in the mirror, or we don't feel the pain relief or the emotion relief or whatever we're hoping to get relief from, we just automatically assume that nothing's happening. But every single day that we feed our livers what they really, really need to heal and to function properly, a lot of that stuff cannot be felt, And medical medium does say, 3 steps forward and 2 steps back. And one thing that that I've gotten into the practice of doing every night before I go to bed is, and at first this was very difficult for me because I had mixed emotions, like if this was true or not. And so I would look in the mirror, look at myself in the eyes and in the mirror every night, and I would say, I love you. You're perfect. Everything about you is absolutely perfect. You have a heart of gold that touches everyone around you, and you're healing every second of the day. And I am so proud of you, and I love you so much. And, I finally got to the point where I wouldn't cry, by saying that. There was so much self-neglect over the years because of personal traumas that it was very difficult for me to get to that place of actually loving myself, without shaming myself. And, just doing that is so powerful because your brain tells your body what to do every single second. And that reaffirmation just helps support your healing. And so no matter if you're feeling overweight one day, or you're feeling like you can't get satiated on another day, you can't get rid of this pain, you can't get rid of this sadness, whatever it is, that's providing yourself with all the love and compassion that you need. Even if you don't feel it, speak
Mm-hmm.
it and look
Yeah.
yourself in the eyes, because that does support our healing.
Yeah, you said it, self-compassion. I love that. That's the second time recently someone said that they do that they look in the mirror and talk to themselves in a certain way. So I feel like that's something that that the universe is telling me I need to do too.
Yeah.
Um, Angels 44 Bless says it wasn't my goal wasn't to lose weight. Doing the advanced 369. But I know I lost some because I noticed it in kind of clothes and the way that I feel, and I do not move the needle. Yeah, I think every single time that we do the 369 or any of the cleanses, it definitely moves the needle. So, and a lot of people are losing, like the people who have a lot of lymphatic weight to lose, they'll lose it on the 369. And obviously, my liver has more healing to do. My lymphatic system's probably doing pretty good, better than I thought it was, because I didn't drop any.
Yeah, after 3 years, and Mandy's over 3 years, we're still detoxing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It took a long time to get here.
Yeah.
It took a long time to get here from the time we were born. Everything we picked up from our ancestors and brought into our own lives and our own bodies. So um, it's important to allow the time that we need to heal. And we're worth it. I think Mandy's on the same page that we plan on living this lifestyle for the rest of our lives because we've never felt better.
100%. And I think it's important too because of the toxic world that we live in. That we're never, there's never not going to be heavy metals falling from the sky or radiation when we go flying. That's going to be there for a long, long time. And, pesticides and fungicides aren't going anywhere. So we're constantly exposed to things. So we do, the cleansing lifestyle is something that we'll be doing for a long time. Do you ever do a juice fast? I don't. Michelle doesn't either because medical medium says that they're not really going to do much. He talks about that in Cleanse to Heal. You can do it for one day, but any longer than that, it's really not going to be as effective as the other medical medium cleanses. And I think it may even start to become really tough on the adrenals, even if you're doing the recommended celery juice and cucumber apple juice, which he says that is kind of all you need in one day if you do a juice fast. So if you want to do that, you could do that in one day, or you could do like a day 9.
Yeah.
And the cleanse, which is just some blended papaya and blended melon.
But we
We have
both
30
juice in the
seconds.
mornings.
So, what's that?
I said you and I, we juice in the mornings usually, and then we have our smoothies and more solid food toward the later part of the day to give our livers that break while juicing.
Thank you all so much for being on here today and joining us. We absolutely love having you on here. And as always, Michelle, I love you. Thank you
I love you,
for doing
girl.
this.